Welcome to investingnews.com. We're once again speaking with Pete Moorhouse from Basin Energy. Welcome back, Pete.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on.
Oh, you're welcome. With the current change in Sweden's uranium policy, how does this impact the company's Scandinavian projects?
Oh, look, this is huge. I mean, the change in the uranium policy is genuinely significant, both for Basin, but also, I believe, for Europe and for the broader energy strategies. In Sweden, we've had this disconnect between a country which is increasingly reliant on nuclear power, yet it's had restrictions on uranium development, despite what we think is some pretty exciting geology and some historically great occurrences. From an energy security perspective, Europe's increasingly focused on reducing its reliance on imported strategic commodities. So this policy shift to me really signals that Sweden wants to position itself as a player for the future supply chain, as a jurisdiction which can show its credentials with a transparent and well-regulated regime and jurisdiction. So look, we're super excited. It de-risks the assets for Basin. We entered it primarily for the geology. It's a historically identified uranium jurisdiction, but we did consider it quite prospective for some polymetallic mineralization as well. Now, our preliminary works have probably downgraded the polymetallic side, but they've certainly identified the prospectivity and upside from the uranium. We've had multiple hits at 10 meters plus at 0.1%. So that removal of the policy really removes the uncertainty for us. It gives us a clear forward pathway to take these assets forward in what we think is going to be a real emerger in the uranium exploration development space in Western countries in the next few years.
So Pete, now dialing to the company's actual projects within the region, what are the exploration steps that you have coming up for 2026?
Yep, we've got a fair bit planned here. We have been holding up a little bit on this policy change, and now this is clear. It's happened, so this really gives us a bit of a free run now. Our focus will be in the North Sweden projects, where we've identified this structural corridor. We think it's about 20 kilometres long, and we've got these little bits of outcropping mineralisation, which we've seen historically, and then we've identified some addition. So the focus for us is going to be really pinning this down, doing relatively non-invasive initial test work, and then setting up for some drill testing. We'd like to aim for that for later part of this year. This part of the world, it is cold, and we do quite often get questions, how do you operate in these sorts of environments? But considering that our company was IPO'd off assets in northern Canada, some of these conditions are very similar. We do know how to operate in here, and the Nordic regions has got this phenomenal exploration team and skill sets there. And we can do field work both in winter and sometimes actually better in winter when we have frozen ground, easier access, means we can do more environmentally sensible work as well. But also the summer work is the ground where you want to be hitting time and you want to be hitting rocks and walking around. So for Basin, boots on ground, let's advance that North Sweden project with the aim to roll into some drill programs hopefully later on this year.
Well, thanks very much, Pete. Now, the next key question for investors, has the recent rally in the uranium price been factored into the company's current valuation?
Oh, look, the uranium price recovery is real. We've seen quite a shift coming in, especially over the last couple of weeks, where we're seeing the spot price increasingly tick up. Now, it's fair to say we haven't had a significant re-rate off the back of the policy shift this year, and I'm not overly surprised at that as investors sit and watch this policy change really kick into place. Bearing in mind that Basin has uranium exposure now in two very friendly uranium environments, both in the Athabasca Basin in Canada, where we're currently finalising a deal and a partnership with Green Canada Corporation, which will see one of our projects drill tested hopefully in the next few months, fingers crossed. And also our move in Sweden, which, as we said, is now a support environment. We do expect that this will shift forward. Our moving into Sweden has set a bit of a precedence. We're seeing other companies moving in now, and that really helps to shine a spotlight on the prospectivity. And as I hope to see, and I expect to see some of the bigger players move in, I think we'll see that start to reflect on us.
Well, it is very busy times for you, Pete. So moving to the company's projects in Queensland, what are the next steps here?
Queensland's been something great. So we had a very busy end to last year. Just a reminder for those who may not have heard me talk before, we completed an acquisition in the latter part of last year. Then I'm not sure the time frame was, 6 weeks of completion. We were drilling drill holes. This area is prospective for both uranium and for rare earths. So it's next to the red metal Sibella deposit. We've got a huge area of land here. It's in excess of 6,000 square k's, and our first pass program was testing what we're going to be looking at for sediment-hosted and derived materials. We will be looking at adding a second drill program to that, hopefully in Q2, and that will be specifically for the hard rock potential, so analogous to the red metal deposit itself. And we'll also be starting to do some groundwork on the Valhalla style potential as well. So looking for high grade shear hosted uranium, very similar to some of the stuff that we see in Sweden. So there's a lot of work to be done in Queensland. There's a lot of news flow still to come over the next few weeks with that as well. And it's a busy time for the company in multiple jurisdictions.
Also, Pete, looking a bit further into Queensland, there's a lot of major players with big exploration programs that are currently ongoing. Could you take us through some of those and how that could be positive for Basin?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Northwest Queensland has for a long time been an absolute hub, and we're seeing a real focus and push there at the moment as the government looks to support future developments there. You know, Glencore, BHP are all busy. Paladin still have the Valhalla deposit there. I mentioned a minute ago the red metal work as well. So that discovery from them is the potential to be globally significant, and all of this work continues to keep that focus on what is truly a world-class minerals province. So Basin's in a good position there. We're next door to some of these absolute world-class players. There's no shortage of exploration happening in Northwest Queensland, and we think we've got some of the best ground up there from a genuine exploration plays for rare earths and for potentially for uranium as well down the track. So lots of upside with the big guys around us, and it certainly keeps a spotlight on the area.
Finally, Pete, and there is a whole lot going on for Basin at the moment. What's just a wrap of the catalyst coming up for, say, the next 6 months?
Yeah, sure. No shortage, which is a great thing. I'd be looking at, I mentioned a few moments ago, we did our first round of drilling, so we completed over 2,000 metres of air core. We're expecting to see results from that come in February. So that's not far away now, and I'm pretty excited to see what that looks as. So for this, we're looking at sediment-hosted rare earths. We're also looking at setting up our hard rock drilling program for shortly after Easter. So that's going to keep us pretty busy from a news flow perspective. I also mentioned we've got the Green Canada Corporation deal at Marshall, which should see Marshall live its own life, fully funded, with Basin retaining some significant upside in the potential success of that company and holding an equity buyback at project level. So if that is a big success, then we can retain upside or significant upside for shareholders. And then we have the advancements of our Scandinavian Nordic projects as well. We've touched already on the work that we're planning to do in Sweden. So no shortage of work to be done. It's going to be a busy 2026, and we're pretty excited to hit it hard.
Well, a very busy year coming up, Pete. We look forward to chatting with you again soon. Thank you for updating investors today.
Absolutely great to talk. Thank you very much.